So what's fucked up? I'm gonna be doing the starter on my G35 at Layton's house. That's where I'm heading right now. Picked up the starter yesterday, and then hopefully the first things to get started when you're doing the starter is you want to make sure it's jacked up where you can work on it with enough room. You always want to disconnect the battery when you're working with electrical stuff, but since this is all zip tied, I'm going to have to cut all that off first, and then I also have to deal with something right here, which is also, I feel like, could be a culprit too. It's a little chassis ground strap, and it goes right down there, son. And there's 2 points of contact there, and then I'm gonna be also replacing this, and it bolts in right down there. And then hopefully that'll fix that problem, and also I'll have a working starter with the new one. So the first step I'm doing to this, with the courtesy of Layton helping me with wires, is I'm replacing both terminals to eliminate a problem. This one was a little loose and a little messed up before, and then put that there. This wire right here, which is like a chassis ground wire, is 2 points of contact there, right here, and then in front of the motor. I'm removing that as well to take a better look at it and possibly replace that. And then we'll do the starter, even though now I feel like I probably don't need to do it. So once you get prepared and get your lights under here, because it's getting a little dark, can't see it too well. That's a 13mm bolt under the cover to release the strap. Right there where my finger is touching. That's also another problem. That one's loose. But that's a 13. You unclip this, and those are 14mm bolts holding it to the bell housing of the trans. It's pretty easy, and then it'll slide out right through here. And then we'll put the new one in. And hopefully after this, my car won't have problems besides this piece of shit power steering rack that is gonna have to get replaced pretty soon. Because it's leaking pretty bad. And also, the reservoir lines are also leaking a little bit. But that's the only thing on this VQ that leaks. Surprisingly, got the old one out. It took more time to set up those lights under there than it did for me to take this thing out. And then you just want to make sure your new one is the exact same before you throw it back in. This honestly takes, if you don't have the problems I do, probably like 30 minutes.
No, like 20.
25
if you know what you're doing,
minutes,
though.
if you know what you're doing. Or you could pay somebody to do it, but it's honestly so easy you could do it yourself. So just finished installing the starter. Put the 14mm back on with the bracket on top, 14mm on the bottom. The 13mm harness bolt, and the connector right there. Electric tools really do come in handy. It went in as easy as it came out. Then, where are they at?
You good with it?
Huh? Made a new ground wire for the motor to the chassis, and also the other one for the motor to the chassis.
So this one's the OEM ground. Now on the G35s, there's another tab that comes off of here for the second bolt hole. Cut that off because we're going to be using a second bolt hole for this one now.
So we turned the 1 into 2 basically.
Yeah, so now they're separated grounds.
And then, it's kind of dark. Got the new terminals on there. Just got to bolt it back up there. Tighten that bolt right there, tighten them down, and then we'll start it, see if it worked. So here's our homemade replacement for the factory wiring. That's what when we cut it. So there are 2 individual wires bolted to there and there, and this one's bolted from here to right there. All I have left to do is attach this guy right there, and then we'll start it. All right, of course I got to put that back on there too. What? Almost there. So here's the moment of truth. Did something. I'm gonna have to drive it around and then turn it off and keep turning it on and off to see, because it would turn on like this before, but then it wouldn't want to turn back on like after driving it. But so far it looks like a good job done. You make a slow car feel fast by removing the seat. I'm laying down back here. I could fucking fall asleep.
Let me see. That's the homie right now.
I'm alive, but I'm dead.
Oh shit, turn green.